Yeah. So
That's
let's just jump right in. All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Thinking Out Loud. I am David.
I am Nicholas or
And you
Nick,
are-
whatever.
Whatever you want to
I guess I'll be Nico today. Fuck it. I'm Nico. I'm Nico
And you're
today.
listening to the chillest podcast you've never heard of. If you're wondering why we're fucking recording somewhere else, it's because
honestly, my amenities in my apartment opened up and I wanted to show them off to my very good friend, my podcast partner, my boss, all of the above. This is the man who holds the ball and chain, so I'm trying to impress him. That's really what it is at the end of the
bring
day.
the ball and chain with me today because we're in his domain, so I was like, we're just going to leave it at that. But anyways, we're back at it again this week. It is number 18, right?
Yes, number 18 indeed.
It's already the end of June. This probably will come out after June, or maybe like later today whenever we finish it.
Oh yeah, today's the last day of June, huh?
Is today the last day of June?
Yeah, because tomorrow's the 1st. Yeah.
There's not 31 days in June?
There's not 31 days in June.
Holy shit, damn. Happy July 4th, right?
Happy July 4th.
Happy July 4th. No, but I'll get it out before then. Yeah, I don't know, but
well, if you're watching on July 4th, happy July 4th to you and your family. Hope you, I don't know, burn some burgers.
Maybe blow your hand off while trying to pop an M80 or something. Hopefully that happens.
Yeah, don't be another Terry if you've seen that viral video.
Terry? Who's Terry?
With the wheelchair.
With the wheelchair, the guy who puts the fireworks on the wheelchair.
Yeah, on the wheelchair. And he's like, "Oh no, Terry!"
I used to do that when I was a
no.
kid. I used to like strapping fucking bottle rockets to whatever I could find.
Oh no, I don't agree with that. You tripping?
Like strapping them to like a spider or something. That should be sick.
Okay.
But it wouldn't be inhumane because spiders are scary and dangerous.
That there's still creatures.
There's still creatures
that live
insects.
on our earth.
You insect.
What do you mean?
Yeah, but anyways, did you have anything you wanted to talk about today? Since we are in your domain, because I have some stuff I wanted to talk about. I know we didn't record right away, but
I'll piggyback off you.
Piggyback off you?
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of somber to start this off, but like, yeah, I don't know if you guys heard about what happened in Miami. Truly unfortunate. Had a whole situation. Some guy decided to crash a plane into the fucking condos.
It's another 9/11.
Yeah, dude.
Inside job.
I'm just
It's the government.
No, it's real serious. About 106.
Yeah.
100.
Yeah.
It's like I think the death toll is up to like 12, and it's approximately 150 people missing.
Yeah,
That's really incredible.
No, it's messed up.
I normally
it's actually crazy.
We normally never get political on this podcast, but if it makes any sense to talk about what happened in Miami, we got to talk about infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
Like how's a building in America just gonna fucking collapse? Unless it's a conspiracy, you know what I'm saying? How's it just gonna collapse?
I'm gonna tell you how.
Tell me how's it come out.
No racist shit.
No what?
No racist
No
shit.
racist shit. Say it out loud.
It wasn't made by Mexicans.
It wasn't made by Mexicans.
That's exactly why
true.
it collapsed.
Yeah.
I'm be honest.
It was probably made by some other fucking Latin group.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the Mexicans, they built these incredible pyramids, and they're still standing to this day.
Aztecs.
Did not collapse. Thousands of years. A building that was built in fucking 1980 just collapsed. Like just fucking crumbled. It's fucking devastating.
I don't know. There's something to be said, like, look, a Mexican will get your job done in crazy amount of time, right? But we also we don't skip corners.
We don't we don't cut corners. Yeah.
We don't cut corners.
No, we make it clear to the person who hired us.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones who are like, yeah, cut a corner. If we recommend, I'm saying we because we're technically Mexican.
Yeah, indeed.
If we're like, hey, we're not gonna cut corners. We're gonna make sure that we milk the contractor for everything he's got.
I mean, essentially, yeah. Sometimes it's like anything, you pay for quality. It's just as simple as that.
Just a small point. These fucking armrests are uncomfortable as hell.
Yeah, they're not great. They're not great chairs.
They got some of the strangest fucking furniture in here. It's like, it look like those fucking look like paper chairs. Look at that. Look at this.
No, yeah.
It's like a foldable fucking origami chair.
I know. It's deceitful. Like it looks like it's going to be real nice.
Yeah.
And then it just doesn't have the same ability that you thought it did.
Yeah.
It's just like the building that fell, man.
Yeah, no, and apparently
it's crazy.
The building had already had issues with its structure and foundation
Mm-hmm.
it was built on top of like the fucking ground is moving inches a year. Like it moves like half an inch or something a year or every couple of years. And on top
of
that,
that's what I was telling you earlier. Is I read somewhere that it was like sand pits before that, and that's then they like basically put fertilizer on top.
Just to make it land?
Yeah.
It makes sense that they would do something like that, right? Because we make all kinds of artificial land, right?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, look at soccer fields.
I was going to say, if you look
most soccer fields
Saudi
nowadays,
Arabia,
at
Dubai,
least.
they're making artificial islands and shit.
Are they really?
Yeah, they just go out and make artificial islands.
Oh,
they
shit.
have, like, large areas that they've like made like villas.
Yeah.
Where you can like take your boat out and shit. It's pretty cool. No, but apparently like these motherfuckers, they didn't necessarily neglect the job, but I mean it was apparently a $12 million job, right?
Okay.
And how are you gonna? I mean, unless you have $12 million lying around, it's gonna take you a while to accrue a $12 million. Especially, I don't know. I'm like giving them the benefit of the doubt, right? Because it's like they put these plans in 2018. All this information I got was from a credible news source, Breaking Points on YouTube. You should check them out. Basically, like these guys put the contractors or the people who were made aware were like, okay, let's go ahead and start making plans to renovate or whatever, because there was structural damage and shit. Apparently, they were getting ready to start, but they didn't understand how imminent the danger was. But fuck, you look at the video and that shit just like dissolves, bro. I don't understand, dude.
It
happened at 2 a.m. People sleeping and shit. You just fucking.
It's like that one place in the ocean. What's it called? Bermuda's Triangle. It was like the Bermuda's Triangle.
Yeah,
like it just like that.
That should turn into a fucking 13-layer cake. Fucking A, bro.
I don't know how to explain that, honestly.
See,
like,
that's another thing too. It's
crazy.
Like, this is America, right? Where like we should have some of the best infrastructure in the world.
Indeed.
Right, and I mean, like none of us here keep up with politics. I mean, I do, but not as much as I want to.
Yeah.
Like right now, our government is arguing over how much to spend on, making sure our bridges and roads and everything is up to date. But it's like,
I mean, I think when it comes to that, like what they should put first and foremost are the ones that people use all the time. Like if you have to go over the Golden Gate Bridge, you know what I mean? Like you got to make sure that shit is
so like landmarks
up to par. Yeah, exactly, landmarks.
That's another thing too. It's like like our national parks, apparently aren't taken care of as well as they used to be. Like apparently there's just money.
I mean, they're gorgeous though.
That's the thing though. Like they're gorgeous because our tax-paying money goes towards them maintaining it, and I think that's what's up. Because
interesting, I did not know that.
Yeah, and I heard this kind of, I don't know if it's a theory, but like this idea that like if we just let wildfires burn, like it's just a natural cause of fire, like or something, like whatever Mother Nature's doing or whatever, she's like just burning shit up and like just let it go. Like it's not artificial.
Yeah, it's like once the smoke is up, once it hits oxygen, like you have your fire right there.
Yeah. It's okay.
That is my fault.
And it's like, it got me thinking. I'm like, fuck, I'd hate to be driving under the 405 and then just fucking. I mean, it's probably.
Nah, I wouldn't. I mean, I would hate to be on the 405 if that happened, but if that happened to the 405, I wouldn't be that angry, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
You know how many people ride the 405?
Dude,
like,
no, it's just like.
What time is it where the news does the coverage in the helicopter every night?
Oh, they do it every morning in the middle of the day and then at night.
Yeah, and the one at night, it's always from like 6
to 9.
Yeah.
This one is full 6 to 9.
And it is disgusting to look at that shit.
I mean, it's beautiful.
It's not
because it just makes you forget. It just makes you realize like we just live in such a hugely populated area.
I feel like diverse place. I feel like if you're high, it wouldn't be that bad. But if you're not high, you'd be like, what the actual fuck? Like, you probably enjoy it because.
See, that's the thing. People who come from outside of Los Angeles, like they look at this and they're like, oh, this is disgusting. So many cars. It's just like ridiculous. Like, why would anybody want to drive in LA? Kind of like. Yeah. It's funny because I met somebody from New York the other day while I was working. She's just random chick just walks into the restaurant and she's all like, it was the strangest thing too. I'm going off on a little tangent. She was kind of cute, but she was dressed a little scandalous.
Interesting.
And she was like, oh, I'm from New York. I'm just here visiting a friend, but my phone is dead. Can I charge my phone? And she comes in with an iPhone. And this is the most hilarious thing because none of us, everybody in the restaurant, there's only 4 of us in the restaurant, 3 of us. Nobody had an iPhone charger because we all had Androids. So I told her, I was like, hey, like if you need a iPhone cable, there's a liquor store down the street. I'm sure they have cables because most of them carry.
Yeah,
cables.
of course. she's just gonna end up paying like $20.
Yeah, she seemed like a bit of an airhead.
Mm.
But I was just confused because she looked like she wasn't gonna pay for her food. You know, she was acting like.
Yeah, she was on like some pretentious shit essentially. But okay, not like pretentious, but she was like, she just looked like she was trying to get one by you. Type shit.
Yeah.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
Because she was a girl and she was just kind of cute. Like,
right.
She was looking like, you know, I don't know.
She was playing to your weaknesses.
No. She seemed like lost because she was like, yeah, I'm here visiting. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, where are you going? I asked her because she said she didn't know where she was going. I was like, so maybe I can give you directions.
Okay, yeah.
She was asking for the red line, the metro line.
Interesting.
And I was like, it didn't occur to me that she was looking for the train. Because I was like, I know there's a red bus, the Venice bus.
Yeah, the bus. The
733 is like the one bus that stops after every stop. It's the fastest one. I just gave her that direction because I was like, are you going towards the beach or are you going towards downtown? She's like, no, I'm going towards the beach. I'm like, all right, just go that way. And then I was like, at the end, because we were closing up shop.
I just find that so weird. Like, if you're visiting someone, why aren't they picking you up?
Or like, you know, how are you not more savvy? She was like, she's like, I'm 29. I'm like, you're 29 and you're like lost in the 21st century.
That sounds like some shit that you would say. Actually,
she was a bit. I don't know. I'm just judging her because like she was acting like an airhead and she was being weird. Like, there's this little window where you can order the food.
Did you feel like she was like on something? Or no, not really. She didn't give off that type of vibe.
She was just being like a innocent little white girl
with
some ditzy, like with a bit of naivety in there.
Yeah,
she just wasn't like. She was real chill because she tipped us afterwards.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, she's like, I used to work in hospitality, so I know like
how it is.
And I felt weird because like I wasn't trying to kick her out because she's just asking if she could charge her phone.
Right, but then you're also like, I don't know if I can trust you. Essentially, in this environment.
Right, because I'm on fucking Rimpow in Washington and like.
Right.
You know, I don't have a firearm, so I can't just immediately defend myself and shit.
You don't need a fucking firearm to.
But
yeah, no, I get you. You don't punch bitches.
I would have tackled her if necessary.
There you go.
I mean, there's a whole kitchen of knives behind me, so I wasn't gonna like grab one. I was just because she's like,
maybe
well, it was one of those things.
You work out, right?
Yeah, but it's like, you know, when you watch those True Crime Daily shows on
YouTube, okay,
and then they're like, oh my god, unsuspecting person turns around and gets fucking knocked in the back of the head. You know what I mean? That's all that was going through my mind.
This is the problem of you watching shit like that, is that you really believe that's what's going to happen to you.
I swear, dude, I was like, this bitch is gonna kill us. She's gonna just fucking kill us, make herself something to eat.
Nah,
like in one of those videos, you're gonna be like, the most bizarre thing happened. You're gonna hear Chris Hansen in the background. Then the fucking suspect goes into the kitchen and decides to make herself a burrito Chipotle style. Like, what the fuck?
Shit.
You know, on some weird shit. It's fucking
if you don't watch Dateline, you're fucking up in life.
Oh yeah, Dateline.
It's basically as simple as that.
Yeah, Chris Hansen turned his YouTube channel into True Crime Daily. Basically, they just pick up on cases that people forget or like don't keep up with. It's really scary because it's like some really unfortunate circumstances for the people who die in those.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, yeah.
But it's like I always tell you, if you die like that, bro, you're the 1%. Like,
you're the 1% who dies.
That's just, you can't be afraid of death, man.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, especially when you're in a situation where you're like, well, it's a matter of flight or flight. You know, you gotta.
That is.
Yeah, I always think about it. I'm like, fuck, will I be able to kill this other person? I mean, like, I would be able to. But
you
like,
think you would.
You think you would.
You just don't know until you're in that situation. Like,
it's funny.
I've seen people freeze up in that situation.
Yeah, I've rewatched Tenet. And right before, when he gets recruited, the guy's all like, you're the type of person. No, what kind of people run into a burning, a house burning down? Yeah. It's not until you feel the heat and the smoke that fills your lungs that you really get tested. You know what I mean?
Yeah, real shit.
Like everyone says they'd run into a burning building, but it's not until the heat and the smoke hit you that that shit really starts to test you.
No, it's facts.
And that is facts, yeah.
It's why like a lot of people who are trained for like military medics, like they can do their job well, but not many people are willing to like run into that actual firefight and like save someone. Like they're like, nah, let me get to safety, let them bring them to me, and then like that'll happen. But it's crazy. There's a movie based on it, Hacksaw Ridge. There you go.
Hacksaw Ridge, is that? Well, who's in that movie?
I want to say Andrew Garfield. Is that his name?
Yeah. It is Andrew.
I think his name's Andrew Garfield. Yeah.
Was that that military movie-ish?
It was. It won an Oscar, if I remember correctly. It was a really, really good movie. Watch it. If you haven't watched Hacksaw Ridge, watch
Hacksaw Ridge. There's so many
Ridge.
movies to watch. It's not enough time. Like,
time is a concept.
Yeah, kinda. After watching Tenet, like my brain is just like, oh my god, like I just want to like be able to know more about that shit. I went on like a binge.
Yeah.
Shit,
Okay.
but not to go off on that. I wanted to bring up something else. I just totally fucking forgot. It was after the infrastructure thing. Was it about? So there's a couple things, right? Like there's a John McAfee, Julian Assange, and then some other stuff. I can't remember exactly, but on one of the topics, because there's one. I want to get to both of those.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was regarding. Fuck. It doesn't matter. We can move on to what I wanted to talk about. Like Julian Assange is that reporter. Oh, okay. I remember now. This is something I was thinking about yesterday. It's called Water Wars.
Water Wars?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we probably don't think about this at all, but like being in we're in a war for oil, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're fighting over oil and control of it. What's gonna happen when we start running low on resources like water, like our main water? Like most of the planet is made up of water.
Indeed.
And only like about 3% of that is drinkable, and 1% of that is fresh for humans, something like that.
Interesting. Okay.
Right? I'm getting the numbers like a little bit too close together.
I mean, 1% of fresh water is a lot of water, though. Like if you think about it,
maybe,
because
yeah. Mm-hmm.
the way that water would become fresh, you began with is to filter it, correct?
Well, most of the fresh water is frozen in the glaciers.
Oh, you mean that? Okay, yeah.
Well, that's how they describe it, like drinkable water for us, right? And then I guess you're probably thinking like, well, what about the process of desalination, right? Where we like take ocean water and we filter it.
Yeah.
I guess the process of it apparently just takes up way too much energy.
Huh.
Yeah, it just takes up a lot of energy for us to actually clean the water. So the example I saw the other day was the Denver, Colorado, the Hoover Dam.
The Hoover Dam.
Dude, so apparently the Hoover Dam is drying up, right? Fast.
Yeah.
And that we'll be going to war over water. And I saw this really cool breakdown.
Interesting.
Right? It low-key tripped me out because
Somali pirates have some competition.
Well, we're talking about a fight for a natural resource. So this is going to be a real war, because think about how many civilizations depend on fresh water, right? On running rivers.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look at the southwest of the United States, we're running out of water fast. Like by 2050, we might really be in a situation where we're at each other's throats because there's not enough water for agriculture.
Yeah.
Versus cities. So think about this for a second. You've got farmers who are like saying that it's their birthright to take care of their land versus people who are.
I mean, I can agree with that. Yeah.
Sure. But you live in a city.
I do.
And then you think to yourself, well, what the fuck? Like, I also need fresh water because I have a family, I have kids.
Nah, see, I think at the end of the day, if it was between me living in the city and farmers needing water, I'd give it to the farmers, because we need nutrients, bro. Well, like we can lose water, you feel me? But so long as water is with the farmers, we can still have the nutrients that we need.
You know what's funny?
And then we can replace water, because we already have water in our body. We can replace water with like juice or something.
God, you make it sound so simple.
Because it is that simple.
Nah, you know what it does?
When you think of it like that, at least.
When you think of it like that, it sounds so simple.
Yeah.
The thing is that like our bodies.
Well, you're from Mexico. You've been to your motherland, so.
I know what it's like to not have water.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
Well, I mean, but it's not even that. It's more like it's a health issue, because we depend on water as a source of just like hydration in general. Yeah.
It's also we need it to get off pathogens, and
we use it for
infections,
and we use it for a ton of things. Like mostly what I'm concerned about is the civilizations that live near water sources.
Yeah.
Where we will literally be fighting them over the fact that like they won't have enough resources for their own people, because the priority will be agriculture, right? Like you said, like
as it should be.
It might not be our choice to just be like, okay, I'm deciding to give up my water to the agriculture. It might not be our choice. It might be the case where China, who has allies in those Western Asian countries, I guess Eastern for us, West for them, in that Southwest Asia, India, Pakistan, Turkey, and Iran, those areas, like those places, they thrive on the on I forgot the Euphrates, the Tigris. I should.
Yeah. No, it's yeah.
History class taught me something. The Euphrates and the Tigris, bro. And all I ever did was learn about how important those rivers were, right, to the agriculture in the area. Because if it wasn't for that, humans would not have thrived as well as they should have.
Yeah.
If you think about it, look at the most major water sources on the planet. Most of us live by them, right?
Indeed.
California, New York, Florida, Washington towards Canada and shit like that. It's fascinating. But what's even more fascinating is that there are people who don't see it yet because we're just so oblivious to it. Like, because nobody's talking about it because we're fighting over oil, but the real crisis is that we're running out of water. It may not seem imminent to us.
That's so interesting because we
don't think about it, right? To think that we just turn the faucet on, hot water, cold water. We don't have to worry about it being clean because it's clean enough. I mean, at least it ain't Flint. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. At least we don't live in Flint.
But what does that?
That's a fucking wild situation.
What does that mean as well for the rest of the population? Because we really will be at each other's throats fighting for water, and it's. I
don't think we will be, but I think maybe our children, the future generations, will.
It kind of scared me because there will be a world war over water, and I think it's inevitable.
There won't be a world war over water.
The only reason if
there's a world war, we're all dying.
No, because
we're all dying.
I think it'll be fought.
That's it. That's the scariest thing about another world war is that if there is another world war, nukes are going off everywhere. Like that's nothing type shit. Like they've been waiting to drop nukes. Everybody's waiting to drop a nuke. Like straight up. Wait, everybody dying.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
There's no other way to put it, bro.
Yeah, like governments are just not gonna take shit from other people. They're like, we're just gonna
No, look, all it takes is one person to drop a nuke, and it's just a ripple effect. Everybody going, all right, bet. Like, we're dropping nukes now.
Like, it's kind of like when people get mad on Monopoly, they're like, you know what, fuck this.
And that's what I'm saying, right? So, like, if we have another world war, like a real world war, that'd be crazy. But if we have another one,
I think
that's it, bro. That's literally it.
I think we will.
We won't.
Over water.
We won't.
No,
why would we?
It's because
we don't look. See, here's my thing, right? Is if we have another one and we build like tanks and all this shit, right? Like military vehicles, we create all these plans in order to invade different places. That will work for like, I don't know, maybe a year, 2 years. But at some point, someone's gonna go, "Why the hell are we fighting a war? Let's just drop a nuke."
See, the thing is that then you're just ruining it for everybody else. For example,
but that's if it's a world war, right? Like the big people who are involved, obviously us, we'd probably have Canada by our side.
It's funny because like we think of a world war as like everybody just at each other's throats or whatever, like countries.
No, people become allies during world wars.
I was gonna say that like these maybe. I'm really just afraid that like.
Maybe we lose. Maybe we just get nukes dropped on us. Maybe that's it.
No, we'll be into.
It would serve us right, to be honest.
We'll be into our late elder ages.
Yeah.
When we really start to see the calamity of. Like, we'll hear more about places that rely on these sources. They're gonna have really terrible times because.
Well, how long do you plan to live?
Long enough to see the day that.
That we fight over water.
Well, we're technically already fighting over water. It's just not as visible because we hear California having a drought all the time. But now it's really getting to the point where if we aren't more conscious, I mean, I sound like a fucking hippie, but if we aren't more conscious about
you look like a hippie too.
If we are more conscious about the way we spend our water, we will be fighting over it. There's gonna be people who are just like I don't give a fuck. Like, it's my water. Like, they're going to be cutting each other at the CVS, literally with, like, knives fighting over bottles of water. Like, the whole toilet paper thing, that's just the least of our worries, dog. Water, dog. Just water.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The toilet paper thing was interesting to me because, people couldn't just buy napkins. Like, wipe your ass with some napkins. Like, dead ass.
We wouldn't have this issue if hemp wasn't... if weed wasn't illegal federally because hemp is easily it's so much more reliable than regular paper that we use. It can be recyclable, biodecomposable, whatever, all this and that, blah, blah, blah.
I would feel really weird wiping my ass with some hemp, to be honest.
You know what?
Like hemp that looks like toilet paper. That's what you mean,
I mean,
right?
yeah, if it's just toilet paper, because they make paper from it. They make everything from it. They make clothes and shit. I mean, yeah, look, the Middle East it's full of turmoil because of the United States and because,
Indeed.
you know, like, I don't know if you heard Biden bombed Syria the other day. Do you know why he bombed them?
I don't know.
Okay, so basically, like, I mean, does anybody care that we, like, have war laws? Right? Are you familiar with them?
Some not.
Like, what are they called? The Nuremberg laws? The other one is...
Yeah, it is the Nuremberg laws.
So, why are we, like, indiscriminately bombing a country, right?
That's what I'm saying. It would serve the U.S. right, like, respectfully. Like, I'm all for the U.S. 100%. But if you look at the history of us, we have consistently gone into other countries and just taken whatever the fuck we wanted. So if someone just came back at us, like, yeah, I mean, you know, we'd be scared, but I'd be like, yo, like, what'd you expect? Like, you can't just have no retaliation.
It's because money has gotten involved into our politics so heavily that the war machine, right, the military-industrial complex, is the only body who benefits from this. And it's not even to be a conspiracist. It's the truth.
No, it is the truth. But, you know, the crazy thing to that is that because money is so involved, like, we literally pay people that we end up invading, like, their country and they, like, want to go to war with us. We pay them off because we're just like, yo, we print this shit. Like, we got you. Don't worry.
Yeah, and this was, and this is because...
And the government's not even corrupt at taking the money at that point because they need the money for their people, right?
Yeah, we put our own person in power, right? And then that kind of rolls on, and this idea, like,
and then we have a favor to ask at any moment, and they will do it for us. Like, it's crazy how that effect just keeps repeating.
And this is like
it's nuts.
If I was like 10 years younger, I'd be like, oh, this is some conspiracy shit, but things happen on days that fall on, like, certain holidays,
right?
And shit just flies under the radar. Right?
Yeah.
So check it, like,
just to distract us.
We bomb Syria, but we're bombing a faction, right? If you're familiar with the Sunni and the Shiite, there are two factions in the Islamic kind of thought or whatever religion, the Sunni and the Shiite. The Shiite are fighting back ISIS, and we bomb Shiite-backed militias, and these militias are backed by the U.S. government because we give them money to fight ISIS, right? Now, whether it comes from us, regardless, because we might sell them to Dubai, we might sell them to Arabia, and then Arabia gives them to places like in Syria, right, to the militias that they back. Right? Not to mention that Syria is, I think they still have an embargo, right? Like, there's no food or water coming through.
Yeah, I believe there's still an embargo.
Yeah, I just thought it would be interesting to bring up because it's like you're never going to hear about this in the news. And if you listen to us, it's just the idea that we, like, talk about unconventional stuff that flies under your radar, which a lot does. And I just simply like paying attention to that stuff because, like, it's just...
That's why I always tell you, go into journalism.
Fuck, journalism.
But you have to be, like, an independent journalist. And you have to, I don't know, you have to somehow make a name for yourself.
That's a good segue for the freedom of the press, bro. Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, I forget. Oh, Chelsea Manning.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with any of those three names?
Yeah, Snowden and Manning for sure.
Chelsea and who?
So Snowden and Manning.
Snowden and Manning. Okay, Julian Assange is the founder of WikiLeaks. He used to work, I believe, as a writer for the New York Times. I could be wrong. He's written for multiple publications. Quick breakdown of who he is. He's just a journalist who got information from Chelsea Manning, who's a former Marine Corps analyst. She communicated with him information regarding war crimes in the Middle East from the United States. That's, if you've ever seen this horrific video, it's where the U.S. was essentially killing civilians, right, blatantly, like in the open. They had the video, the more popular one is, if you haven't seen it, it's all over the place.
Right.
It's an Apache helicopter. It's one of the more nice Apaches, right? Real flying high.
I mean, all Apaches are nice.
Yeah, I forget exactly the model because they name it specifically because they're hovering. It's a team of 3. Somebody's on the gunner, and they're just giving the okay. They're like, "Oh, we see armed people, and then there are journalists and then first responders there." They're like, give the okay. Boom. It looks like a fucking video game. They're just just gunning him down with a 20mm cannon.
Jesus.
Fucking insane, dog.
Yeah.
They don't get everybody. Just to be clear, they don't get everybody, and then they come back around and they start laughing about it because they miss the other people. It's fucking insane to think that like we don't care.
I mean, see, but
that it isn't reported on.
Yes.
And then he gets persecuted for telling the American public, and there's like barely any people who gives a fuck about it because what does it matter to them who Julian Assange is or like what he released? Because the real people who are upset are the people at the top. Like they're trying to get him extradited to the U.S. from the U.K. In my opinion, they're gonna kill him the moment he gets extradited. That or they're gonna kill him in jail because they're slowly killing him anyways. They've had him under house arrest for the past 4 or 5 years or whatever. And this idea that he was just doing his job, he was just telling us that the U.S. is not all goody two-shoes all over the world. Like this idea that we're trying to spread democracy, but then we get involved in other people's conflicts.
See, but here's the other part to that, right? Is like it's such a fine line because maybe what he reported it was actually like a black ops operation. Like no one was supposed to know about it type shit. You know what I mean?
Okay, well if no one was
supposed to know. And if no one is supposed to know and that gets out, then it's like he's being a traitor to his country, essentially.
Well, please.
So I'm not like I agree.
Play that part. Like give me like the reasons. Give me reasons why you would think what he did, reporting on or leaking or whatever you want to call it,
yeah,
was wrong. You don't have to agree, but what do you think?
Yeah, so I would compare it to Snowden as well. Like personally, I don't believe what Snowden did was wrong, but if you look at it from a bigger standpoint, like now all these people know that they're being spied on, and I'm not talking about just like regular civilians. I'm talking about people who are actually like we're trying to do terrorist things or whatever terrorist means.
Yeah,
right?
Whatever domestic terrorism means. Because another good point you make right there, you remember what happened on January 6th. Never forget. Like it made 9/11 look like the tiger in the room. I'm not saying 9/11 was entertaining in that sense. What I'm saying is that what happened on 1/6, I think, was an attempt to sort of, I'm just putting my tinfoil hat on here.
I'm sorry, what are you referring to?
The January 6th riot that happened when they stormed the Capitol.
Oh, when they stormed the Capitol. Yeah.
Like, it was a bunch of fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Those people aren't actually fucking terrorists.
No, but they were also put on the no-fly list. Like, okay. Like it might be a bunch of fucking idiots, but what they did is an act against their country or what, like the landmark that we stand for, the state capitol, like the White House.
It seems disrespectful to just run.
It's not even disrespectful. It's a safety issue, bro. Like, see, that's the problem, right? It's
a safety issue.
It's a safety issue.
So we need more. We need to crack down on like domestic terrorism. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, essentially.
See, because that's what Joe Biden is saying. But who defines what domestic terrorism is?
We the people.
Okay, I don't think that was a terrorist act.
The same way that we gave the government all the power, just we the people. We define it. Yeah, and you may not, but the majority of people would say that it was.
Okay, if we lived like in a democracy where like people agreed on one thing and we went with that.
I mean, that's how we were founded, essentially.
But now we're found and lost. Because think about it, like, so much money flows through our government that when, like, it's hard to bring up all the time because free healthcare is something that I believe we should all be able to afford, if not just have, because your healthcare is tied to your job, and if your job is shitty, you're working 2 jobs, you're barely making ends meet, and then the pandemic hits, and then you're worried about getting sick, and then the fucking media is telling you you're gonna fucking die if you don't put a mask on, and if you send your kids to school, they're gonna kill everybody at school. It's like, what the fuck? How are people supposed to be just relaxed? Like, it bothered me so much because the news does not touch on anybody who went through a hard time. People who actually went homeless or who were having a hard time regarding, like...
Well, that's because, like I said last time, like, there's an agenda. You don't want to show the grim of it all. Like, even with the building collapsing, you know, they're not showing the grieving families. You know, like, they're trying to show more of, like, what the rest of... it was in Miami, correct?
Yeah.
Like, they're trying to show, like, the good in Miami, and then they're, like, just trying to give you a little snippet of the building. Yeah, and it's like...
It's like, what I think the biggest issue there is, like, we can't agree on how much money to spend on our infrastructure. Like, in my opinion, we should be at the top of infrastructure. Even if we don't have free healthcare, like, cool, whatever. Our weaknesses are shown. But, like, at least make sure that our roads, our fucking bridges, everything that is just, like, what makes America, like, just the aesthetic of having infrastructure that is up to date, that seems nice to me. But again, the $1.2 trillion package is divided up into a bunch of smaller packages for all kinds of departments and shit. And some of it is good. Some of it is just like, what the fuck? Where's this money going?
Right. Wait, so going back to this...
Assange?
Yeah, Julian Assange thing. Yeah. So, look, my biggest opinion on that is just the fact that we don't know the full story. Like,
well, look, what is it you want to know? Because I know enough, but not everything.
No, but like, it's not like you can... Even Julian Assange, it's not like him or you could go into, like, the military records and, like, find if there was an actual operation that was supposed to be going on or whatever. You know what I mean? And even if they deny it, like, that's what a black op operation is, bro.
So this is a good point, too.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not supposed to be known of.
I saw this small... it's like, was it NBC or ABC? Like, they did an in-depth news report. This was, like, years ago, before he got arrested. Right before he got arrested.
Yeah.
The idea was that he didn't realize he was in contact with Chelsea Manning, the person who is a high-ranking analyst.
Okay.
Had access to all this information and was not happy with the fact that the U.S. was committing war crimes.
That's fair.
We are torturing people indiscriminately without due process. That's Guantanamo Bay.
So you feel like, for her, at least, she had, like, a moral compass, and that's why she felt the desire to reach out to an independent reporter.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say, like, make a name for him.
No.
But
not about fame.
Just give him a story that people would listen to, essentially.
Yeah. And it's not even just the story. I think we need to be aware of what the U.S. is doing in other places. Like, we don't think about, because we're young people. We were born in the 2000s.
You know, so this is where it's hard, right? Because, I don't know, I always try to think, like, when a family member was, like, you know, overseas, you know, in the military, and a lot of what, like, he comes back with this mindset is that...
Who, Chelsea, or...
Huh?
Who comes back with this mindset? This person who...
Yeah, this person that served in the military. Okay. I'd rather not say on
just
camera.
Just a random person?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, you know, they came back with this mindset with the fact that civilians, right, me and you, don't know shit. Like, that's just the reality, right? Yeah. And we don't know shit because we've never been in it. Like, yeah, we can see these reports or, you know, have the fucking, you know, like Manning, like, give the information, Julian Assange and all that. But when you're really in, like, you know, in the thick of it, essentially, you don't know what you don't know. Like,
see, but that's the thing. It's like it's like your friend. It's like your friend, bro. It's like I'm the United States. You're my friend. You're the homie Canada. You're just chilling. You're my acquaintance. And Mexico is chilling also. We're chilling, bro. And I tell you all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, I go to church on Sundays. I do everything I do. I take care of my family.
Right.
But on the other days though, I go off and you know, I'll beat somebody up for the fuck of it because they weren't playing ball with me,
right.
Or I'll go kill somebody. But you'll hear about it. But I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna tell you because I don't want you to know my bad side. I just want you to know my good side at all times. Like, I don't want you to think that I am don't want you to think that I'm capable of doing something atrocious like murdering civilians, but it wasn't my fault. There was collateral. That's actually the name I think they call it. I think that's what they name it, the collateral damage, or the movie or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's like,
I don't want you to tell me.
The reality is, right, is at the end of the day, what our troops do for, and this is so weird because like I don't want to sound like full on like I'm for the military, because it's not even like that. It's just, at the end of the day, what the troops do for us, we will never know because of the fact that we're not in that.
Why don't we know? And whose job is it to tell us?
Because if they didn't do it, we couldn't do it.
Okay, but what are they doing? What are they doing?
They're doing the bad shit that they don't want to have to do, but they have to do. What does that entail?
Because like I'm also curious. It's like, what does it entail when we send people over there, and it's like, why are they there? Why are they there?
To do their job.
But what is their job?
We don't know.
Why not?
Because that doesn't come for us to know.
See, but that's
but
the
that
problem.
yeah that's
the problem.
essentially the problem, right? But let me put it this way, right? Like let's say these people that were in the chopper gunner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like shooting down these people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say those people were like murdering. I'm not saying this is true, right? Like this is all just speculation.
Well, I mean, the video speaks for itself, but what you're trying to say?
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, what if they had like a cult inside, and or not like a cult, but like a gathering every day, and they were finding out information about like where the soldiers were staying, and they were planning an attack or something.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like,
so preemptive measures.
I mean, it may not even be that case when it comes to the intelligence of why they did it or whatever. Maybe the truth, maybe the reality is that those 3-4 soldiers, how many were there, maybe they were just fucked up in the head and were like, yo, this is okay for me to do, because that's how much their PTSD affected them. Maybe that's the case. But you can't just sit here and come to the conclusion right away that that we're just killing innocent civilians for no reason. Like, there's always two sides to a story.
Right, but
I'm not saying,
though, like you just said it, like whether it doesn't matter whether it was good or bad. Like,
innocent civilians. Yeah. No, you don't know if they were.
Okay, but you're a civilian.
I am a civilian.
Are you an innocent civilian?
I don't know.
No, you are, because you're not involved in this war. It has nothing to do with
it. But you wouldn't know that. That's the thing.
You do, because
you don't know that. How would you know that?
Because
especially if you're in a third world country.
It's a third world country because of what we've been up to over there.
But I'm saying, especially if you're living in a third world country, right? And these little gatherings of people, they do happen, bro. Like, is it like, how do you think terrorism started? Like,
okay, but the problem is that, like, whether or not your preemptive measures to like want to do something.
Yeah.
No, you're not a terrorist. At least not a domestic.
No, I'm definitely not a terrorist. The fuck.
That's what I'm saying. So that would make you a civilian. That would make you a civilian.
I mean, I'm more of a civilian because I've never served in the military. That's what I would say.
Okay, if it wasn't the military and there was a police,
mm-hmm.
you got shot by a stray bullet because officers were shooting at a bad guy.
Okay.
And you get shot and you die.
Yeah. How would my family react?
No, that's you. That's collateral damage. You're the innocent civilian, and if it came out that the police, without telling the people that I guess would be common knowledge, but it isn't, that they have the right to fire, right. If they assume it is terrorism.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying is, like, if police have the permission to act on domestic terrorism, where they have free fire, right, and you get caught in the crossfire, the excuse is, well, we were trying to kill the domestic terrorists that were in the way.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
your death should never have happened, right? Because it was a matter of like lack of information and what led up to it. Because
I don't think it was a lack of like. What if they were a terrorist? Like, what if it wasn't just assumption?
The problem is that there's been too many instances in the United States of America where intelligence officials have tried to
cover
that, or they prey on people who are very vulnerable. Right, and they get them to say things that aren't true, or they get them to do things that they don't feel comfortable doing. For example, like it's been the case.
Yeah, but that's not just the United States. That's anywhere.
That happens a lot, but there are a lot of evidence. There's a lot of evidence that suggests that the United States intelligence officials, I'm not going to say specific ones, but they've been known to try and bait young people,
Mm-hmm.
not just young people, but people who are like, they just aren't thinking straight. Like they're like, oh, they aren't radicalized, so let's radicalize them. They're like, oh, maybe they're on the verge of like, oh, Trump is still president, or like America is fucking bullshit. We need to do something about it. And then what they'll do is they'll have FBI or intelligence officials convince these people who are like teetering on the edge of radicalism, radicalize them. Tell them, go put this bomb on your chest, and then do it for your country. And then right before it goes off, all these motherfuckers storm and arrest this guy. This is true.
No, I'm not. I'm laughing because I'm sure it is true. It's just it's wild to think about that. You know, someone would fall for that. Essentially.
No, dude, and that's just it. Like you saw those people.
But I don't think that's a problem with like.
It is
America essentially. I think that's a problem anywhere.
Okay, but
look at Mexico. What the fuck?
Look
at the cartels. What if someone told you like, okay, what if those people that are right, like they're trying to influence them into a different direction? What if they told them like, yeah, we'll kill your family if you don't do it?
See, the problem with that
is the same exact shit that happens with the cartel. No,
they're a byproduct of the drug war. They've been
the United States.
Yeah,
of course.
That also the narco traffickers, in conjunction with America, like they have a shared interest, and that's drugs.
It's money at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, it's one of the only forms of income for them because, unfortunately, the government of Mexico has a hard time mitigating narco traffickers and their corrupt hold on this nation state.
Yeah, but this is my point, right? Like, think about when fucking El Chapo's son got arrested, right? And they actually like took him in, and the cartel found out. Or wasn't? I mean, it was the cartel, but it was Chapo's right hand man, like his business partner. He found out, and he told literally the cartel. He was like, create terror until they release him. They were shooting people in the middle of the fucking street.
Yeah, you know what?
You know what I'm saying?
What do you think the U.S. would have done if they tried some shit like that here?
If it was Mexicans on U.S. territory.
Yeah,
or, like if not to say that Mexicans don't live here. I'm just saying,
no, I know what you're saying.
Like people from Mexico.
Like if we had a situation like that here in America,
it's a possibility it could happen at some point.
Well, some people like who are really like far left.
So
consider what happened on January 6th to be like an act of terrorism. Okay. I thought it was horrible, but I look at what's happening. I'm like, this doesn't look like an act of terrorism. It looks like a bunch of dumbass people who just walked into the Capitol and just decided to harass our government officials because sorry, not to go off on it, but there was intelligence to suggest that they knew this was going to happen. They knew what the fuck was going on, and the media just cannot let it go. And it bothers me because, like you said, like as civilians, we don't know what's going on outside of our realm,
right?
And maybe ignorance is bliss. Maybe
ignorance is bliss. Usually, yes.
Technically speaking, but I guess we live in an era of information where like suppressing something is effective. Like
it is.
I don't agree that we need to ban and kind of excommunicate people from our platforms. Not to say any names, but it's a slippery slope. I hate using that over and over, but it may be to the point where like both sides of the aisle, like anytime you do something on the left side where it's like, oh, I'm not going to stand for the national anthem, the right side's going to get upset because you're not standing for the national anthem, but the left is going to be like, well, we stand with you because you're protesting racial injustice. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like you can't have it. You can't have it because the moment the right is like, oh, we're going to stand and, salute the flag, the left is going to be like,